Today, we're tackling a really provocative idea, fragile faith, and why we invent something called blasphemy. Hey everyone, and welcome to ListenUp. This is our special listening series from International English Academy, India, and it's all about helping you sharpen your listening skills and become a little more self-aware. So, let's jump right in.
All right, before we dive deep, here's your task. On your screen, you'll see 10 questions. Your job is to listen for the answers as we go through this. It's a fantastic way to really focus your listening. So, for instance, you'll want to catch why supposedly eternal religions are called fragile, or what the final piece of advice is about your emotions. Feel free to hit pause and read through them. Got it? Let's do this.
Okay, so here's where we're headed. We'll kick things off with this idea of a fragile faith, then get into a pretty cool metaphor about a grape and a watermelon. After that, we'll tackle unbreakable truth, what blasphemy really means, and how emotion can be the perfect weapon. And we'll end with a big takeaway just for you. All right, first up, a fragile faith. We're diving straight into this paradox of the eternal. So this gets right to the heart of it, right? If a religion is supposed to be eternal, this massive, great thing, why does it get so bent out of shape over a simple joke, a cartoon, or a scene in a movie? It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like these giant, timeless truths are actually super delicate. And look, this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. This happens all over the world, and the consequences are, well, they're deadly serious. You've got a woman in Sri Lanka jailed just for a photo with a Buddha statue. Go back in history, Giordano Bruno was burned alive for questioning the church. And in our own time, think about Asia Bibi in Pakistan, sentenced to death, or the horrific attacks on Salman Rushdie and Charlie Hebdo. Even a movie like Oppenheimer can cause this huge wave of anger. The fallout is absolutely real.
Okay, on to our next idea. And this one's a great metaphor to help us understand what's going on, the grape and the watermelon.
So check this out. This metaphor is key. The idea is you've got a grape, this small, fragile thing that represents all the human-made stories, the rituals, the rules. It's just a grape. But then we stick a giant label on it that says watermelon. We call it this enormous, eternal truth. So what happens when someone comes along and just, squeezes the grape? Immediately, people freak out, screaming, hey, you're attacking the watermelon. But the real trick, the real deception, was calling the grape a watermelon to begin with.
Okay, so if all those stories are just fragile grapes, then what's the watermelon? What's the real deal? That brings us to our third section. What is unbreakable truth? And you can really see the difference here. On one hand, you have fragile religion. It gets injured all the time, it needs bodyguards, it creates fear. But on the other hand, you have this idea of truth with a capital T. And this truth, well, it's unbreakable. It's infinite. It can't be hurt. It doesn't have a face or a story. You literally can't insult it because it's just beyond all that. I love this quote. Truth is the sky. Just think about that for a second. Can you hurt the sky? Seriously, try it. Can you injure space? If you shoot an arrow straight up, is the sky going to feel pain? No way. That's what we're talking about, something that is fundamentally unbreakable. Which brings us to a really important question. Let's talk about the real meaning of blasphemy. Because maybe it's not what we think it is. Maybe it's just a tool for control.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. If you can't actually insult the sky, you can't insult truth. So what is blasphemy? It's not an insult to God or truth. It's a label, a weapon. It's what powerful people use to punish anyone who disagrees with them. It's how they protect their fragile little grape stories. The second you question their story, they scream blasphemy to shut you down. And here's the playbook, step by step. Step 1, someone points out the obvious. Hey, that's a grape, not a watermelon. Step 2, the powerful people, the priests, the leaders, whoever benefits from the story freak out. They sound the alarm, they cry blasphemy. And step 3, they use that panic to silence the person who asked the question. Through fear, through laws, or even through violence. It's an incredibly effective playbook for control. But how do they get so many people to fall for it? What's the secret ingredient? Well, that brings us to our next section. Emotion, the perfect weapon. Now get ready for this, because it's a pretty radical thought. We always hear about religious sentiment getting hurt. But what if there's no such thing? What if emotion is just biology, hormones, the same stuff that animals feel? The argument here is that real religion isn't about sentiment. It's about investigating your sentiment.
It's about asking, why am I feeling this way?
And this is so important because your emotions can be hacked. They can be engineered. Think about it. Who are the masters of manipulating emotion? Politicians, right? They want your vote. Marketers, they want your money. Some religious leaders, they want your obedience. And social media, oh, it definitely wants to keep you scrolling. They're all experts at pushing your buttons to get what they want.
So why does this work so well? Because emotion is the #1 way to get people to stop thinking. It's that simple. If I can make you really angry or really proud or really scared, your rational brain just kind of shuts off. When someone tells you to stop thinking and just feel, that's a huge red flag. It's manipulation 101.
So what's the solution? What can you actually do about all this? Well, that's our final section. This is your takeaway: how to observe and understand. Okay, here's your 4-step guide to taking back control. 1. Stop drowning. When that big wave of emotion hits, don't get swept away. Just pause. 2. Understand it for what it is. It's not a divine message, it's a biological reaction. It's your body doing its thing. 3. Observe it. Become a scientist of your own feelings. Watch your anger from a distance, like, that's interesting. And finally, 4, take control. When you can do this, nobody can use your feelings against you anymore. Not for votes, not for money, not for anything. So, let's leave it with this. The next time you feel that sudden rush of emotion, that anger, that pride, that fear, whether you're scrolling online or watching TV, just stop for 1 second and ask yourself this one simple question: who is pulling my strings? Answering that? Well, that's the beginning of real freedom.